Our next witness is giving evidence remotely and anonymously. He's been granted protection by the tribunal for his identity.
And so that that's quite clear, Mr. Sabi, I think he's giving evidence with a voice distortion?
Yes, sir.
Very well. And so it may be slightly hard for us to hear, and we'll, if necessary, take more time.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us this morning. The witness, for ease of reference, I call him Mr. Jiang, has been a policeman for over 10 years. He trained at military police academy in mainland China. He was tasked with investigating political and religious suspects. He served in Xinjiang from 2018. In 2020, he left China and he now resides in Germany, where he had been granted asylum. Mr. Yang, you're trained as a policeman and were posted to Xinjiang in 2018. How long did you serve in Xinjiang?
Mr. Sabi, I think I heard the witness say something about the machinery. I'm not sure.
刚才这个接着这个回答，就是说有几个月的时间，我们这个叫援疆就是说公安援疆战斗，然后呢有长期的，有1年的，有2年的，有3年的，我是去了几个月的时间在新疆工作。
In that period, you learned about hiring of 150,000 policemen for Xinjiang. You mentioned that they did not receive proper training. Is that correct?
他们不是警察，他们是临时招募，从全国招募的一些没有工作的人，叫巡抚警，不是正式警察。
You also refer to a secret committee deciding on the warrants of arrest. Can you explain more about this committee or anything you know about it?
这个就是说思想有问题的人呢，有敌对意识的人呢，就把他这个由当地政府，不是司法人员，或者是有几个法院的人员组成的一个委员会，都是当地政府的干部，就是简易的委员会就可以决定这个人养着花多少时间。然后呢，不是司法机关，因为呢，中国共产党这个政权呢，它是党政不分的，是这个有党领导一切的。所以说，这个司法呢，所有的这个包括学习，所有的人员都是归党领导，都是党委书记领导。从这些单位呢，所有的公职人员当中出一些人，比如说你是什么局的。劳动局啊，或者是你不是司法人员，司法局啊，就是说还有可能有警察几个人，这就是一个简易委员会，都是政府工作人员，然后就决定这个人是敌对分子，然后就可以让他思想转化15年。
Thank you. Have you heard of a computer program called Integrated Joint Operations Platform?
明白什么意思呢？是我理解是我们有公安网有大情报系统，就是说，而且是这个意思吧？就是说，我用公安网大情报系统的，我就可以查所有人的这个你的上网记录，你的这个交通坐火车、旅店业记录，所有的我都可以查。然后呢，我可以把这个就是把这个监控人员、积极监控人员，比如总上访的。然后新疆少数民族这种这些人全都纳入这个系统。一旦你使用了身份证，我就知道你这个人，比如你到了北京，我就是你买了票，我就知道你这个是不是这个意思，就是这个系统化。
Does this computer program also order arrest of the Uyghurs?
身份证号，你的身份证号输进去，你就被监控了。你是几级监控啊？你是什么样的？如果你在我这辖区住店，你买票了，我这个，比如说我是铁路警察， 我是航空站的警察，机场警察。一旦这个我这系统密码有违规的人，或者有上访反对这个共产党倾向的人，我监控对象吧，我这个都会报警，在我这个指挥中心就会给我下达一个任务，然后我就到这个地方去进行盘查，就是用身份证号，全国用身份证号数字管理。
During your short tour of duty in Xinjiang, you say that there were 300,000 arrests of Uyghurs. Can you give an idea how this huge number was handled? How many a day on average arrests? Thank you.
就是说呢，平时各个单位呢，包括社区，包括这个所有的学校，所有的这个单位呢，都保一些就是危险人的名单，他们都平时有这种倾向思想的人，然后平时呢对他们的网络，对他们上网全都是打电话，全都是进行监控的。他们的通讯呢，他们这个维族人的通讯，这包括打电话，包括上网都是被监控的。然后呢，就是说我们进行这种叫战役，就是把这些人都拉到名单，在各个地区、各个县，然后各个区域分成派出所，包派出所下达任务。然后分成无数很多组了，然后同时在一个期间之内，就我们叫战役，把他们全部逮捕，平时长期对他们进行监视了。对这些人呢，每个单位、每个地区、每个村子都有相应的报告。他们认为呢，比如村长认为哪个人有倾向，说过某句话，我不喜欢政府。学校呢，这个学生就是说，我对这个也不喜欢，我要出国，这些都是作为这个，就是有这个倾向的。那么这些人呢，就是说，或者是有一些他们不喜欢的人，维族人，都可以一块全都定位就是我们要打成一个恐怖团伙，3个人3个团伙，然后进行这种战役吧，就是一个战役，我们公安部战役把他们就是说全都抓捕。
Mr. Sabi, it's a matter entirely for you, but this is a very important witness, clearly. The witness statement is comprehensive but quite short, because we are not moving necessarily very fast.
Yes, but there, as you mentioned, there are very important issues that we would like to discuss with this witness. So, can you hear us now, Mr. Jiang?
Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned that 300,000 arrests were made during your short stay in Xinjiang. Can you confirm that?
您听懂了哈？
听懂了。
Yes, I can confirm.
You explained that the Uyghurs were treated differently, in your opinion, from Han Chinese.
有区别，怎么说呢？是政治方面的，就是政治方面不安全，有别于刑事方面的不安全。所以所谓的维吾尔人呢，就是说是政治方面的这种危害政权的这种人，这种行为，就是被列为这种危害政权的这种人群。所以说打他们呢，说警察的态度的参与措施不太，就是说非常打人的门槛非常低，随便就可以打人们。
好的。
然后不像是一般刑事犯，不像是这种刑事犯的普通人群。
Thanks. You witnessed that Uyghurs were being tortured by the police. Can you confirm that?
可以证实。
Can you let the tribunal know what is in your training the guideline for torturing witnesses or criminals?
因为中国警察呢打人是非常严重的，在过去20年之前随便打人，但是呢现在就是说对这个违法犯罪嫌疑人呢要进到执法办案中心，有一个执法办案中心进行审讯，全程的录像录音。然后呢，这是普通的刑事犯罪，这个就不是很重要，所以说警察打人的这种情况就比较少了。但是呢，新疆维吾尔人是国家敌人，他有这个 颠覆政权嘛，他有这个，他有实现民主理想，民主的理想，实现平等的，就是说有很多诉求，这一方面都被纳入到政治范围，属于国内安全保卫的这个管辖范围和国家安全的这个范围，可以不在这个执法办案中心去这个审讯，就是不动录像和录音，以不正当的手段取得这个就是防止妨碍国家安全的行为出现。打他们了，打鼻青脸肿了，给他们用双手铐了，没有录音录像，不用在执法办案中心。
My question is, when you were trained some 10 years ago, did they mention that you can or cannot torture the criminals?
肯定有这个，但是这个法律是法律，工作是工作。要听党委书记的话，要听那个党委政法委的话才行。所有的警校都是不能刑讯逼供的，但是工作当中的，比如说严重的刑事犯罪，可以打他的，可以对他这个采取手段让他说，不让他吃饭，给他喝盐水，然后不让他睡觉，轮番审讯，可以不在执法办案中心来弄这个事儿。这个比如说政治方面的犯罪的，可以不在这个不按照法律来做。
Madam Translator, please do not debate with the witness. Just translate whatever he says, even if it's not really clear, just whatever you understand, and then we will ask the question again. The question is, what type of tortures are you allowed to inflict to obtain the confession?
按照他们规定都不允许，这个就是都不在规定里。然后呢，就是这些都不在规定里，规定里是肯定是不能拿到明面上来。但是危害国家安全的这个犯罪呢，可以给他绑起来灌凉水，把水管子把他四肢封起来，把他这个水管子插嘴里给他灌凉水呛他，让他这个肺呛，然后呢用手铐铐住他腹口，然后把桌子上抬，然后呢不让他这个睡觉，这都非常大事，把塑料袋系到他头上。
When you were being trained, Mr. Jiang, were you also trained for methods of torture?
这个呢，就是说属于非常保密了，就是说这个怎么说呢？我们是老警察，我们不需要这个，我这种老警察不需要这种全年轻人这种培训。给我简单说一说我就明白了。有的我们可以不去打人。我去看一看新疆那个同事他们是怎么打人，我就明白怎么做了。
Mr. Sabi, you might think, given that he's referred to the detail in his paragraphs in the statement, you might think it worth reading out paragraphs 8 and 9 so that the detail is given. But otherwise we're going to take a long time getting it out item by item. No criticism of anyone, but he has mentioned the paragraph.
Yes, sir. My line of questioning is to establish what are the rules for Han Chinese. I know that the witness says that they fall below the standard, but it's only to establish what those standards are. And in that respect, so there may be worse in Xinjiang, but we do not know what the standards that the witness is referring to are. Mr. Jiang, in your training, are you permitted to beat the prisoner in order to extract confession?
我能解释一下吗？因为这个我们比如说侦查部门和还有专门审讯部门，有专门是审讯警察，他不侦查。有比如说有预审大队，有预审中队，所有这个侦查员抓获的人，他们是专门审讯的。专门审讯的有很多方法的，特别多的方法。他们是要学习这个特别细，而我们就不需要这么细。我们就是说到当地以后，注意不要乱说话，不要让这个维族人找到话柄，不要同情维族人，注意国家安全，不要让维族人聚集地方去，就是这些。然后其他的你就随着这个当地人员办案，然后再说。 说预审中队，比如说一个青年大队预审中队，专门预审中队的人他会用这个东西。而且我还要解释一下，就是这个呢，新疆有一个特殊的部门，新疆的警察呢有这个特殊部门，就像什么做特战队啊、特侦部门呐，它都属于侦查国保系统的。他们这种东西呢就是保密，比如说他们抓的人他不送到看守所，他们比如说他们有自己的一个基地，他们自己有一些秘密的东西他们在搞。
So you witnessed that Uyghur prisoners were forced to kneel, punched, a plastic bag would be tied over their head in order to induce suffocation, and the bag would only be moved when they begin to struggle or breathe. Can you confirm that? You also mentioned that sometimes their limbs were tied and water pipes were inserted in their mouth to force water into their lungs. Can you confirm that? You also witnessed that the police was using electric rods which were connected to a male's penis in order to electrocute those parts, correct? Also, prisoners were left to starve and some food was offered in order to taunt them. Correct? Did you witness any of the prisoners going crazy or mad as a result of the torture?
No.
Did you witness any prisoner dying as a result of torture? But have you heard about it? And did you witness any sexual harassment or rape against the prisoners?
这个我没，我因为对这个，因为我不喜欢谈论这种就是道德水平，对性这方面我不喜欢谈这方面的东西，所以说我不问他们这些事儿。但是我相信是肯定有的，因为我听说福井猥亵维族人的事儿发生过，就是福井猥亵就是对于强奸和这个。就是说，对妇女的侮辱之间，就是比侮辱还强，他就是摸了一些，让我听说这个事情，福井发生过这个事儿，利用权力对维族女性人进行猥亵，但不是就是没有发生性行为，但是那种性行为有之间那种。
Finally, Mr. Jiang, you referred to state orphanage where the children of the prisoners were taken. Have you seen or witnessed any of those, and have you been inside any of these orphanages?
我看到过，它不是幼儿园，就是学校，新疆的小学没有寒暑假。新疆的老师呢，就是说全都是外地招的，从内地招的老师。然后这孩子全是寄宿性质的，不是孤儿院。我看过不是孤儿院，就是说没有寒暑假，这孩子就住在学校，然后吃住呢全都在学校。然后也没有家长说说尽管你家长被抓起来了。对，新疆呢是这样的，从2016年开始叫一级响应，就是所有的警察、所有的政府工作人员没有休息日，然后所有的教育系统都进入一个战时的状态。然后呢是从内地招老师，把这个孩子们也不放假，条件非常差。一个就是说，一个10几平方的屋子住很多小孩，10几个、20几个小孩，上下铺，就是这样的一个对待，然后吃的条件也非常差。
Thank you, Mr. Jiang. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for coming and giving evidence. The tribunal members will have, I'm sure, a lot of questions.
I would like to start with two questions about your experiences in mainland China before going to Xinjiang. And the first of these is, what events or factors usually led to you detaining political or religious suspects?
有，对法轮功啊、地下教会全都抓。 全都去他们进行监控，然后呢，防止这些就巅峰政权的人。
So were these multiple ethnic groups?
今天没这么民主，任何参加的全都抓起来，肯定是要管的。
Thank you. And in the prisons there, were there rooms, interrogation rooms without cameras for these political and religious prisoners?
国家安全保卫部门，我们叫公安局叫国家安全保卫部门。国家安全保卫部门可以不把人送到看守所，他自己有一个秘密关押地点。他这个就是不是正规的监狱，不是说是看守所，是他们自己就是一套系统。所以在那里头就进行这些东西，而且比如说我要抓案子，我要抓这个地下教会，我就全省所有的地下教会都送到一个公安局一个指定的点去，那个关押点你都找不到这个地方，普通人是不知道的，不公开的。这我知道这个地方，我都很多事儿，很多专案我都知道。
Thank you. Can you tell me why you were transferred from the mainland to Xinjiang?
这样的是全国所有的公安局就援疆战斗，分成那个，就是说全国所有的公安机关都去援助新疆。比如说你这一个地市呢，你要上海要援助喀什。广东也援助，比如和田，把新疆分成多少块，所有的警察，而且按不同的警种，你是特警，你是刑侦，你是国保，你是就是我们的监管看守所的监管人员，你是其他的警种，然后分成多少刑事技术人员，分成多少警种，然后那个配套专业这块去援助这个新疆，然后呢有短的有时间短的有时间长的，是这个情况。
Okay. You say that when you arrived in Xinjiang, this was the first time you learnt about re-education camps. Do you mean it's the first time you learnt of their existence, or that you learnt of their true nature?
我们之前不知道，我们到那以后就给我们像思想教育似的，有一些时间，然后就给你讲这个对维族人的斗争形式。维族人要分裂国家，现在我们的国家安全形势是非常严重的，防止他们分裂国家。然后呢，对他们采取了一些措施，对维族人就是要防止他们出现车臣式的这种措施，就是你把他们全部都控制起来。然后这时候才讲到这个思想转化中心，而且我们不能去维族人居住的地方，不能乱说话，不能让维族人录音，录音呢你同情这个人也不行，就是说，然后我们叫思想转化中心，不要再教育营。然后思想有问题，然后呢，就把他这个思想转化。就是维族警察，曾经这个我也见过，维族警察也被抓起来了，因为他们在这个他们的两个的电话都不知道说什么东西，很快就被这个送到思想转化中心了。你不能乱说，你们乱说的话，也给你们送到思想转化中心。
Thank you. With regard to the local committees deciding who should go to the camps, who was responsible for choosing the individuals that were on these committees?
中国共产党这样，党和政府是不分的，党委呢，就是中国就是中国共产党党委，然后呢，各级党委书记、各级党委委员他们决定了，比如社区的党委书记决定哪些人有言论，哪些人对这个政府不服从，然后他们有一个权利把这个人推荐到这个就是送去思想转化中心。
And is it the party that then trains these individuals as to what to do? Thank you. In paragraph 7 of your evidence, you refer to prison rules preventing guards from providing Uyghur prisoners with food and drink. Were these written rules?
就是你不能客人，你给他提供这个食物和水，只能是就是羁押地点或者是关押地点给他提供的食物和水。你不能说我跟这客人，有可能你跟他说话说多了也不行，你不能跟这个被监管人员交谈，不能同情他。
And is this a written rule?
这个没有守则，这个肯定有，就是说监管人员的守则。如果要是警察、看守所系统和监狱系统都是有法规、有监狱法。如果要是思想转化中心的，肯定有这个 量的话是4项的话中心工作人员守则，肯定有，这个不是很难找到的。他肯定不是公开让你每个人都看到，但是他那个秘密级别比较低。但我这么说完以后也可能。
Okay, thank you. In paragraph 10, you state that you believe there was encouragement of torture by the Chinese government because of using the label of terrorists. And I wonder if you could expand on that and whether you think calling somebody a terrorist necessarily implies permission to use torture.
就是如果是反对中国共产党统治的，就是人民的敌人。人民的敌人就是，所以就是说，获得新疆维族人是这个恐怖分子啊。我们人民的敌人不是人，不是人，你就可以知道你怎么对待他了。他们不能被看作人，他们是敌人。
Okay, thank you. Can I'm near the end of my questions. Where did you go to after you left Xinjiang after a few months?
第一个到新疆我乌鲁木齐，北京，然后到北京买个专辑回去。
Were you still working as a policeman in Beijing?
中传，然后就回到家了。是的。
Thank you. And my last question is, how did you manage to get to Germany?
是我也从事了一些反对中国共产党的事情，然后这个我不便说的特别多的细节，然后几经辗转才到了德国，然后呢就是这个情况。
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. That's my questions finished.
Mr. Clark, please.
Yes.
Just one question. You say that Uyghurs regarded as enemies of the people and as such not regarded as people who degrading treatment could be applied to. Could you say something about the language which was used either by the police or government officials or others? How did they refer to Uyghurs? Was there degrading language or other language in which was used as a description?
就是称他们为暴恐分子，他们都是宗教极端主义，民族分裂势力，是分裂国家的这个敌人。
I understand that, but was there any slang or informal language which was used as descriptive?
这个没有啊，没有了，我没听说过，只是告诉我们他是分裂国家的敌人。 是这个所有的这个有意见的人都是这个暴恐分子。
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. In paragraph 7 of your report, you refer to a national Chinese policy to arrest Uyghurs because they are automatically considered enemies or terrorists. What is this national Chinese policy?
政策就是巩固在新疆的政权。 不能让这个维族人，就是说有他们认为的一些民主理想、民主平等的这些民主理想要求，民主的这种，也是要是民主的制度，不能让他们实现这种制度，然后不能让他们变成一个单独的国家，然后所有的这些呢反对的、有意见的呢，这些都有全国有，比如说有比如说中共中央，他就会下达任务给所有的这个部门。 公安部有公安部统一的这个计划，然后派出这些警察去边疆，武装警察有武装警察计划，军队有军队计划，国家安全有国家安全的计划，林业警察有林业警察的计划，这部门进行就是保卫这个国家的这个中国共产党在新疆的统治。
So, which department would it have come from? The CCP?
就是中国共产党。 有一个中国共产党是中国政府是在中国共产党党委的领导下，是在中国共产党领导下，所有这些都是中国共产党制定的，肯定是从中国共产党中央办公厅他们搞这个东西，然后下达他们领导政府，然后再由每一个政府部门，也每一个政府部门达到一个部门，调到一个村的都有党委，有党委分支党支部书记、党委书记。 他是党委书记， 所有的这些人都是中国共产党的党委中国共产党党委的领导，是他们下达的。
Okay, related to that, my final question. You said in your testimony that state powers acted according to their own rules, so that would be under the party secretary in the region. Is that right?
对的。
Thank you.
谢谢。
Just following on from Professor Kaur's questioning, in regard to these policies, did you receive, or were you aware of any written instructions in that regard, or did you at any point receive oral, verbal instructions?
公安机关当时成立了一个反恐办，每个地方都成立一个反恐工作处或者是反恐支队，就是各个地方省管一个反恐总队，所有反恐部门就是只办一种案件，只协调一种工作，就是对维族人的这个把维族人所有的维族人定义为恐怖主义，所以说反恐工作就是所有的文件，反恐工作所有的文件就是针对维族人的。
I'd just like to add another question. From what year did this policy start?
这个大概10年前就有，应该是从2009年7月50年之后就是升格的。
Did it increase also from 2014 or 2016?
是从陈全国到这个新疆自治区当党委书记开始。 从他开始，他是一个怎么说呢？我叫能生干力，他是一个能生干力，他推行了所有这种制度。
Thank you.
Could you say, do you know under which department the anti-terror department sat? In other words, what was the senior organisation? What was the senior organisation to the anti-terror department, the senior department to the anti-terror department?
有公安部反恐工作委员会嘛，肯定是公安部反恐工作局，肯定还有中央政法委有这个反恐工作的委员会协调部门，公安还有公安的，然后国家安全的这个部门都在北京。
Probably the last two questions. In paragraph 11, you link the national policy of having Uyghurs seen as terrorists and the enemy to their being tortured once they had been arrested. But once they've been arrested, there's no need to torture them. So why were they tortured?
因为让他们服从政府的这种服从共产党的这个统治，然后认同共产党的统治，让你丧失任何的思想，你就不会有这个，就是任何的意见都不会有了。因为我说的这些人里头，他很多都不懂政治。 但是他这些有意见的人也全都给你全都送到思想中心了，然后呢，这样呢让你精神崩溃，让你这一代人全都等于被我控制住了，这样我们就不会有人有意见了，也谈不上管理国家了。
Probably the very last question. In paragraph 13, you speak of the Chinese government wishing to destroy the identity of the Uyghurs and promote Han Chinese identity, but you also speak of natural resources claimed by Uyghurs and Chinese being a source of disagreement and problem. How important is the economic problem, the resources? How important is that in the way Uyghurs generally were treated?
这个很重要。 首先呢，这个缅甸国很重，缅甸国它是大产地、主产地，还有克拉玛依的石油气田，还有很多的这种产品都是从新疆。他为什么搞了一个生产者民团？生产人民团就是一种农业开垦，会开工厂的形式，还有以这个监狱的形式，然后进行劳动，然后这个取得新疆这些资源。
No more questions, but if you... one more question.
We're very grateful for your testimony. I'd like to ask one last question, if that's possible. I noticed when you were visible that you had your uniform on. So,
well, is that safe?
Can I assume...
Unless it's necessary.
It is. Can I assume from that that you are...
Just a second.
Please do not ask any question about rank or position.
No, I won't. Can I assume from that you are a patriot who loves China, number one, and number two, if you are a patriot in China, are you able to critique any of the state's conduct?
我年轻的时候当兵呢，就是说我是为了保家卫国，保护的是老百姓，保护的是国家，但我不是保护的贪官污吏，不是保护的皇帝。中国共产党呢，就是一种真皇帝、假共和。等我明白，我这岁数不能再长了。等我明白这一天呢，我爱我的国家，我坐在这儿穿着这个制服，我不是背叛，我是真正站到了人民的一边，反对这个真正的皇帝用法西斯手段来统治人民。
Mr. Sabi, that's all I'm going to ask from this side, but if you wish to ask the final question of the witness, please do. That is as to whether he has anything else to add.
No further questions.
In which case, thank you very much for making yourself available to give evidence to the tribunal. Your evidence is now concluded.